I'm Pastor Horton. Welcome to this week's message. We're joined today by Miss Laura Bratton. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. We talked a little bit before, and if you don't mind just kind of sharing your testimony again, it's incredible to hear.
Yeah. So, what I would love to share about my testimonial is for me, growing up in the deep South in South Carolina, faith was a social cultural norm, just something that we did. And through my life experiences, faith, spirituality became real, became tangible, not just something we go to on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. It became real and practical and every day. So, what I mean by that life experience is when I was 9, I was diagnosed with a very rare retinal disease. And all the doctors could tell me and my parents were the cells of my retina are dying, but we can't tell you at what rate or like the speed, the timeline. We can't give you any exact parameters on when you will go completely blind. So we are just left with that kind of that news, that diagnosis. And then fast forward in those high school years from ninth grade to when I graduated as a senior, that's when I lost all of my vision. So by the end of high school, I have what I have now, which is just very limited light perception. So again, what I mean by my faith became real was that in those high school years, as I'm losing a significant amount of vision, that's when I really started to put my faith into practice. And again, it wasn't just going to church on Sunday mornings and Sunday school and youth group and choir on Wednesdays, but it was a real lived experience of learning to receive and accept God's unconditional love, regardless of the circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds tough. I mean, I can't I can't necessarily empathize with that. Um, and I'm terribly sorry that you went through that.
Thank you. It was tough beyond words. Like the level of grief, I cannot put into words because I knew what I was actively losing. I knew how easy life was with sight, and I knew how difficult life was now without sight. Plus, I was a teenager. So those are difficult years anyway. So because of that intense grief, that led to deep panic attacks, deep depression, just constantly anxious, depressed, overwhelmed, fearful of the future. So it was an extremely difficult time.
Yeah. And I'll say it's incredible that you took that grief, that struggle, and instead of, cursing God, you kind of turned more into him, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You're 100% right. And that was only because the only reason I was able to do that was because of the support around me. So I'd love to talk about that and explain what I mean because it's a huge part of my testimony, of my experience. So as I'm anxious, as I'm depressed, as I'm clearly actively grieving what I'm losing, plus trying to continue on with life, it was the support around me that still continued to believe in me. And I don't mean like through their words, like, oh, Laura, we believe in you, right? Because if they did, I wouldn't have believed them and just said, oh, please, whatever. But it was
Yeah.
through their actions. So every single day, my parents would remind me, yes, this is overwhelming. Yes, we don't know the future. And all we have to do is take today, day by day by day.
Yeah.
And I still vividly remember to this day as I'm getting up, getting ready for school, as my older brother is getting up, we're getting ready for school, we're eating breakfast. My dad would just always remind us today, this is the day the Lord has made. And then he would just kind of, here's your breakfast, right? He would just kind of remind us of that and then go on to normal life. So again, of course, as he says it, as a teenager, you're like, oh, please, dad, right? But
Hmm.
what that did, that instilled in me that gift and that foundation that regardless of the circumstances, this is the day that has been created. God is with us in all that we're doing. In my grief, in my anxiety, in my depression, God is still with me. So for me, and people ask me this all the time, didn't you say, why me, God? And that was not my reaction. My reaction was, God, I can't. I
Hmm.
don't have the strength. This is too hard. I can't. And I literally, that was my prayer. That was, I would literally cry to sleep and every single night saying, God, I just want to let you know, like, this is too hard. This is too much strength. So it wasn't the why me, it was the I can't. I don't have the strength. So in that turn to I can, I do have the strength through the support around me.
Yeah. Um, so that reminds me of something that I like to say. A lot of people will say God will never put you through something that you can't get through yourself. And quite frankly, I hate that. I absolutely
Me
hate that
too.
saying because yeah, he will. Because the point of faith, of this religion, of this belief of ours is not to handle everything alone.
Right.
It's to build a community.
Right.
So instead, I like to say God will never put you through something that you can't get through with a community.
Ooh, oh, that's
And
brilliant. Because that
and
was
it sounds
100% my lived experience. I would
yeah,
not have gotten through the blindness without this community.
yeah. And then the other thing that you said was your prayer was I can't.
Yes.
And that immediately reminded me of Jesus saying, God, can you pass me over from this incredible pain and suffering that you're about to put me through? And then at the end of his prayer, he says, but don't do what I want. Do what you want. It's your plan. I trust you. He was raw and emotional, and that's exactly the same way you were. And we can see kind of those similar changes of,
The changes.
yeah,
And what that makes me immediately think of as you said that back to me, I was right. I didn't have the strength, but with the gift of community, that gave me the strength.
absolutely. I've I've been in some, I mean, no pun intended, but dark places,
Yeah.
you know. I found myself in some places where I wasn't very healthy. Mental illness plagued me for a long time. And I mean, honestly, one of the only reasons I'm still here is because an amazing friend of mine looked at me one day. We were sitting there sorting mail. I was in the military. I was sorting mail. He looked at me and said, "We need to go to the hospital. You're not okay." And I was like, you sure?" In
I
my
think
mind, it
I am.
was, I don't want you to spend the gas money. I can drive myself later. And he's like, no, we're going. And he took me there, and I stayed there for, I think, 5 days. And when I got out, I was just healthier, and I wouldn't have driven there that day.
Right.
I would have come up with an excuse. But because I had that community, even just that one person who said, you're not okay, and I'm not
You're
going
good.
to take you at your word. Let's
Yeah.
go.
The
So,
gift of support, the gift of community, right?
yes, God will always bring somebody into our life when we need them, and
Absolutely.
often that builds our community.
That, and that you make a great point with that situation. Our community doesn't necessarily mean hundreds of people, right? Like
No,
it doesn't, it's not about the number. Just that one person is what you needed that day to get to the hospital and get help.
absolutely.
So I want to make that very clear. Community is not like an army of people, all right? Like it can just be that one person.
Yeah. And another thing about community is people come and they go,
Yes.
right? Like you can't hold on to everybody. I forget the exact study, but I think there was a study that said physically humans cannot keep a strong connection with more than five people. You can keep a connection, right? You can send somebody a text every once in a while, but you cannot keep a strong connection where you like talk
Oh,
multiple times a week or, really know each other with more than five people at a time. Because then your brain kind of, runs out of RAM. Not to nerd out on computers, but
no,
like
literally, that's
you've only
true.
got so much memory and it's
Right.
taken up. And so, this community, that guy, he was great. We ended up spending another few months together. And then when I came back to home, I lost contact with him. And I mean, I would have loved to keep contact with him even just a little bit, but people come and they go, and
Yeah.
that's it's a natural ebb and flow.
I was gonna say it's totally natural. It's not good or bad, right?
No,
Because again, when you say that, it makes me think about so many people that were my support system. Again, in high school in those worst days, I don't keep in contact with anymore. And
yeah,
that's just, I had to realize that's just part of life because we physically can't keep up with each other, you know?
yeah,
So that's a great point. That community is not like the permanent community forever.
yeah. Like for instance, my job, my day job, I work security. I'm a front-facing person, which means I say hi to a lot of people. If I tried to maintain communication daily with all those dozens, probably hundreds of people,
Hundreds.
then I would lose my mind. I wouldn't have enough time in the day to eat or sleep. I'd be constantly, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Like, let alone keep a conversation going. So
Right.
it's, you have to be willing to change things. And that's something I still struggle with is change.
Change. Yeah. Because there's that, and I put this totally on myself as a type A person. I feel that obligation. They help me. So I always want to stay connected with them.
Yes.
Right. Like they were a support to me. So I always want to stay connected. And that's just not, it's like you said, that's just not practical.
Yeah.
It's not humanly possible. Right.
No, it's not. And, the other thing is when that person leaves your community, there's more than likely a reason, right? For me, it was I moved halfway across the country. I
Yes.
went from South Carolina to Nebraska. You really can't keep a good connection that far away,
Great.
but it becomes problematic when somebody leaves your community and you try to latch on and keep them there. Because if somebody is naturally leaving for one reason or another, they're leaving for that reason. And if you try to keep them, not only are you holding yourself in the past, you're holding them back from what they're meant to do.
I 100% agree with that. I totally, totally agree with that. And that's what helped me get over that perspective of, oh, I feel an obligation. Well, no, just let them go, right? Like, quit calling
Yeah,
them, leave them alone. Just, yeah, it's just moving forward.
yeah. And, you say that, and I think of one of my favorite points to talk about is love. It's just such an important thing.
Mhm.
And I will always say that I hate the English word for love.
I
I
know.
really hate it. It's so terrible. I prefer the Greek. They have like seven words for love. And one of those forms is oh, what is it? It's
Agape.
agape. Thank you. It's agape. It's a selfless sacrificial love. And so when somebody helps, right, a friend or family or whoever helps you, or even just a stranger, they're showing that kind of selfless and sacrificial love, even if they won't say, hey, I love you. It's just a way of showing that.
Yes.
And this is something that helped me was if they're sacrificing or being selfless, I don't owe them. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to take advantage of it,
Right.
but if they're being selfless and sacrificial, then I would be demeaning that sacrifice if I insisted on paying them back. because then it's not a sacrifice.
then it's like, yeah, that's one of the major, one of the many countless gifts of when I was in seminary, when I was getting my Master's of Divinity degree, learning that understanding. And that made me think that you saying that made me think of a professor who always told us that. And the reason he was teaching that so strong that we learned agape was, why in the English language do we say, I love pizza and I love God, right? And I
Yeah,
love my
like
dog. Like, we have the same word for three completely different
yeah,
perspectives. So yeah, agave just feels more, as you described, I love how you described it. It feels more whole. It feels more representative of what we receive again from our community.
yeah. Not to it ties in, but it's really nerdy again. I love to play a lot of video games, and
Yeah.
one of those is Titanfall 2. It's a great game. I won't go into it, but there's a line in it where this robot you're talking to uh says the human concept of love is created from four things: admiration, attraction, trust, and respect.
Hmm.
And I really like that, but it
Yeah.
comes back to, the different forms of love. And I was talking
Mhm.
to a psychologist, a therapist at one point. And I was like, hey, what's the definition of love? Because I think it's this. And he said, okay, so you're attracted to your mother? I was like, well,
Oh,
okay,
that's
no,
funny.
that's and it really shook me because I was like, that definition doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
But it boils down to trust and respect at least.
Yes.
Those are what's needed for love. And like you said, the English language, you can say I love pizza and I love God. I don't trust or respect pizza. It's food, but I
Right.
sure love it.
Right.
But I
Right.
have all trust and all respect for God.
Yes.
And so, like, I really wish we could come up with different words because also, I walk up to a friend, I say, hey man, I love you. That means something different than if I say I love you to my mom or my partner. Like,
Right.
it's all different,
It's all
but
different.
that one word for everything, I just hate it. But,
And it all circles back to the gift of community,
yeah,
the gift of love that we receive. This twofold: we receive and we give.
yes. That is the second commandment that Jesus gave us was to love each other as ourselves. So he literally told us love God, right? Which of course, and then love each other. Give the gift of love to your community. And community is so impactful. Like you said, it got you through a lot of your struggle.
Yeah, it gets us through difficulty, and it just supports us in the everyday. Just when life is just mundane, like we're
Yeah.
not. It doesn't have to be those extreme difficult moments. Just that mundane, like, oh my gosh, is it only Tuesday? Like just those
Oh,
weeks where you just feel like, oh, this is going so slow or so difficult. It's the gift of community to support you, to encourage you.
yeah. And that can even just look like, hey, I'm grabbing my morning coffee. I noticed the same barista's there. Just strike up a, hey, how's your day going? Even that to me is a form of love.
I 100% agree. And a form of community.
Yeah,
Because who knows what happened in her world on the way to work?
yeah, exactly. Like she could have gotten a call that, her dog ran out into the street and its leg was broken and she needs to worry about vet bills now. And you
Right.
just saying, hey, how's your day going? And sincerely listening, that can mean the world to somebody.
Yes.
I like to say, checking on one person won't change the whole world, but it will change their world.
Their world. Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah. Well, um, I've taken up enough of your time. You have a book. I would love to hear about it.
So, yes, I'd love to talk about the book and the title of the book. So the title is Harnessing Courage. And the reason I was very specific with the publisher on naming the book that title. And the reason why, again, this circles back to everything we talked about: community, love, respect. It was out of respect and of love and of deep gratitude for the two guide dogs that I've had. So I've had two dogs, both about 11 or 12 years each. And the harness is the leather strap that goes around the dog, and then the handle of the harness is what the blind person holds. So as you walk forward, you're one connected team. So
Mhm.
out of respect, out of gratitude, I wanted to name the book Harnessing Courage, because every day it took a lot of courage on both of our parts. It took a lot of courage for me to pick up that handle and trust this. One was like 55 pounds and one was like 62 pounds. Trust them as literally my eyes. That took a
Mhm.
lot of daily courage. But yet it also took a lot of courage on their part, that they had trusted me, that we had that level of communication, that we could work together as a team. So again, just as respect, I named it Harnessing Courage. The point of the book, the my passion behind writing the book, was for people experiencing adversity, experiencing major change, that they could read my story and use the same tools of grit and gratitude that I've used to navigate through the change. So throughout the book, I'm constantly telling my story each chapter as it unfolded, yet I'm constantly turning it back to the reader to say, so what adversity are you facing? What is the challenge? What's the difficulty? What's the loss that you're experiencing? And that you can also use these principles. So I talk a lot about receiving God's love and knowing that we are a beloved creation of Christ, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what we're going through in life, even when it's incredibly difficult and feels terrible. So that's the purpose of the book, to be a resource for people navigating through change. The passion, the only reason I wrote it was because of my community, because of the support system that I had. I wanted to go and be that support system to others, so they could also be empowered by their community as I was empowered through my community.
Yeah, absolutely. And to anybody interested in reading that book, I will have a link to that in the episode's description, as well as to her website so that you can find that. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been incredible.
Absolutely. Thank you for the honor for this platform.
Yeah. To everybody else out there, I hope sincerely that this has inspired you, and I pray that you have an amazing week. Please remember to like, subscribe, and to share this message with anybody that you feel called to. Again, have a wonderful week, and God bless.